Hey there. Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys all about the long step pass, another one of our 7 strongest guard passes in Jiu-Jitsu. This is another guard pass where we start by pointing the feet down and away, and then we proceed with the pass. Now this pass is a little bit different. Up until now, all of our passes have had the same order to our steps. Okay, we break connections, we point the feet away, we get to the pocket of the hip, we control the head. And today, in the long step, we're going to be switching steps number 3 and 4. We're switching those two. So it's actually going to end up being breaking connections, which we won't cover too much today, pointing the feet away, then controlling the head and shoulders, and then finally getting inside the knees and getting into the pocket of the hip. So typically, we use this pass when I successfully point the feet away from me, but I cannot get to and control the pocket of the hip. My partner does such a good job of defending the hips that I forego the hips and I go right to the head. I go right to the last step. Let's take a look at this pass very briefly, and then we'll get into some of the details of it. I'm going to put your head, let's go toward the pole. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go over here. My apologies. So from here, we start off by reading the situation. The first thing I always read is my partner's feet height related to their knee height. Remember, if the feet are up higher than the knees, we point the feet up and away and we go into stack passing. If we see the feet lower than the knees, we control the feet, we point them down and away, and we come through. Now next, we would like to control the pocket of the hip, but he's going to do a good job of using this knee to stop me from getting into the pocket of the hip in a way that shuts the knee out. And so we're going to go right to head control. I'm going to reach up with my left hand and I'm going to control the straight lapel. My head is going to go into the top shoulder, so I control the bottom shoulder through a lapel grip, and I control the top shoulder through head position. My right arm is going to take a grip right here at the end of the pants. Now from here I walk around the angle to an angle. I get my knee and my hips up to the shoulder line. I take a long step out to free my leg. And now to finish it, now I flatten them out as I come back inside the knees to the pocket of the hips. One more time real quick. We point the feet away, down and away. I would like to get to the pocket of the hips, but I can't. So I take head control instead. I take good head position. My right arm grips the cuff of the pants. And now I start working my way to an angle. I come down to my hip and my elbow. And I work my way inside the knees and into the pocket of the hip last. So the way I'm going to show this pass to you, breaking it down for you, I'm going to show you the important upper body mechanics first, and then I'm going to show you the lower body mechanics. Then we're going to troubleshoot it, okay? If there's time at the end, I may talk about breaking connections and connecting the long step pass to some other passes. And I'm going to have you put your head toward the camera. So the first thing I want to talk about is head position, or upper body elements, including head position. So I'm in here, I'm coming up against the knee shield. I want to control his head. I'm going to do so with a grip on the lapel right here. Just like so. I'm going to use my head in the top shoulder. Now, when I work around and I hit my long step, just rotate. I'm going to land like so. When I hit my long step, I land with my hips above the shoulder line. We'll talk more about that later. I keep a grip on the bottom lapel and I stay propped on my elbow. It's incredibly important that I stay on my elbow. I break down to a hip, but I don't go to my shoulder, I stay on my elbow. If I come down to my shoulder, it's so easy for hand to turn to the top position and I just sweat myself. So when I long step, even though I go down to a hip, I stay on my elbow. Now, very important for controlling the upper body is controlling both shoulders. One of the biggest problems when I go to hit a long step is if I don't have good head position, Ant can turn into me with an underhook, and now he can start wrestling up into my legs and taking me down and get top position and making it tough for me to secure the pass. And that's all because he was able to turn into me and turn chest down, put his chest down to the floor. So when I'm here, I control the bottom shoulder here, and I'm going to be pulling the bottom shoulder. So I'm going to be continually pulling on this bottom lapel. I use my forehead in the top shoulder. So I'm pulling on the bottom shoulder and pushing on the top. Now when Ant goes to turn into me, look at how he can't come forward with that top shoulder. If I allow the top shoulder to come forward, go ahead, all the way belly down, he can go belly down, good, go back. If I let go of the lapel, and now he can't come forward with the top shoulder, but he can pull his bottom shoulder back. No, just pull your bottom shoulder back and go belly down. Yep, come back. So from here, keep driving your top shoulder forward and pull your bottom shoulder back. Yeah, see, now he can turn belly down. Keep going. And I can't stop him from turning belly down, and he can start to wrestle up. He can climb into me, grab my legs, double legs, single legs, things like that. So it's this juxtaposition between a pull on the bottom shoulder and a push on the top shoulder that stops him from coming into me. Now if I ask Ant to turn into me, now he can't. So that's important about the body, about the upper body. Pull the bottom shoulder, head into the top shoulder to stop him from turning into you. Not only that, but I can use my head and the top shoulder to completely flatten him out. Let's say I'm here with good head position and Ant is trying to turn into me. All I need to do is come back to my toes, and I can use my head to physically flatten the top shoulder and put him back flat to his back. So that is how you want to position and use your upper body to keep him from stopping your long step pass, to keep him flat on his back and from turning into you. Now let's talk about the lower body. Head toward the belts over there. So now that we know the upper body, let's talk about the lower body. First, I point the feet down and away. I want to get to the hip, but Ant hides his hip. So I control the head. We're going to keep doing the same upper body mechanics, but now I'm going to explain the lower body mechanics to you. From here, when I get my grips, I get my position, I want to get up off my knees. If I'm on my knees, I don't have any mobility. Okay, so I don't like the long step from down here. If I stay where I'm at and I long step, I'll land down below his shoulder line, and I'm going to land right in front of his knees and his elbows. So when I try to come in and get my pass, use your arms to frame and whatnot, I'm not going to get anywhere. Okay? So what I want to create happen with the long step is I want to work to a strong angle. Right here, Ant feels very comfortable. I want to work my body around to this angle here, where I'm up over his shoulder line, this line that draws his two shoulders together. I'm on this side of the shoulder line, and I'm well away from the legs. How are we going to get here while we still have a leg caught in his legs? So I'm here, I step to the inside, I control the head. My leg is still caught in his legs. So rather than long stepping from my knees, I'm going to tripod up to a shoulder. Normally I'd use my forehead and the shoulder, but I'm going to talk to you. So I tripod up here. Now I'm going to walk around to an angle until my left knee and my left hip are in line with his shoulder line. Once everything is in line with his shoulder line, now I can drop back down to my knee, and now I'm going to fall with my hip to my left side. And that's going to put my hips above his shoulder line while I step my right leg out. Okay? So without the upper body mechanics, you guys are seeing just the lower body in play now. I come in, I work to an angle, and I step out. So we point the feet down and away. I control the head. I set my upper body mechanics. My right hand is on the cuff of the pants. I tripod for mobility. I walk up to the shoulder line as I continue to pull his head in. I'm trying to connect my elbow to my hip as I walk up to the shoulder line and pull his head in. Here. Now I drop to my left knee. My left knee is either on or above the shoulder line. and now I'm going to fall to my left hip. If I stay right here, I can't really move and kick my right leg very well. But when I fall to my left hip, my right side becomes completely unweighted, and I can do a great big movements with my right leg now. When I'm here, I can't do those same big movements when I'm on my knee. But when I'm on my hip, and my right leg is completely unweighted, I can very easily extract my leg. And now we're going to work our way back inside the knees and to the pocket of the hip. Okay? So those are the upper body mechanics to keep his shoulders and to stop my partner from turning chest down to the floor. And we have our lower body mechanics to help me shuffle around until I start getting beyond his shoulder line. Then I drop to my hip while staying on my elbow, and that will allow me to extract my trapped leg. Now let's talk about some troubleshooting with this technique. First off, let's look at what to do if, say, you can't get your ankle out. You go to long step and they viciously clamp down your ankle and you can't free it, okay? Let's go this way. So same thing, I point the feet down and away. I control the head, I control this grip. Head in the top shoulder. I work my way around. I go to kick out and I can't get this leg free. I try to pull it out and Ant is just pinching his legs around my ankle. So what I'll do here is I'm going to keep pushing his ankle away, stay tight on my ankle, and I'm going to scoop my hips above the shoulder line. A lot of times from here with my hips below the shoulder line, a lot of times from here when I drop my hip, he has a good bite in the leg and that keeps me from getting above the shoulder line. Sorry. If I'm here and I'm trying to get my hips above the shoulder line, sometimes this bite of my leg will keep his body oriented like this. So when this happens, I'm going to climb my hip above the shoulder line, so I'm going to scoot using my feet and using my elbow as I keep pushing this leg away. I start getting my hip above the shoulder line and until my knee comes free. If my knee's trapped, this won't work very well. So I'm going to keep scooting until my knee comes through the legs, like so. I still have my grips. Now with my foot through, move your head a little bit. With my foot trapped and my hips above the shoulder line, I'm going to use my bottom leg to step on the knee. My bottom leg is going to push the bottom knee, while my right arm pulls the top leg. And so as Ant tries to keep his knees pinched nice and tight, I pull his two legs apart. So when Ant tries to pinch my ankle, obviously he can't, and I can step out very easily. Okay. So one more time, I'm in here. I want to try to get my pass, but Ant's going to be a stinker and not let my ankle on. So I'm here, I try to get out, and he's like so. So from here, I just keep creeping my hips up until I get my hips over the shoulder line. Here. And once my knee comes free, now I can take my bottom foot, my left foot here, place it right on Ant's bottom knee. I push the bottom knee, I pull the top leg, and now I can take my foot out so easy. And now once again, I want to get in tight to the pocket of the hip. I can release the grip. Arm comes inside the knees to the pocket of the hip. And now when Ant tries to re-guard, my arm shuts his legs out. And I can come up and take top position. So that's one way this can go wrong, is my opponent can just clamp on my ankle and not let it go. And we can use our free leg to kick it free. Another thing that can go wrong is my opponent can keep his bottom knee in my way. And then we need to get the bottom knee out of the way. Head toward the pole, man. Let's come back a little bit so I don't go out of the frame. I come in, I point the feet down and away. I control the lapel. I come in. Now I back step and Ant's bottom knee is pulled to his chest. When Ant tries to pull his top knee to his chest, it's hard because of my grip on the cuff here. But his bottom knee's in. And I feel like if I just try to drive straight forward, I'm going to go right into his knees. So what I do from here is I make a switch from the top pant cuff to the bottom pants. And now, Ant's going to keep his knee tight to his chest, your bottom knee, your right knee. And if he keeps that knee tight, I won't be able to push his knee away, really, but I can walk away from his leg. My hand is going to hold his leg right where it is, and it's going to stop it from following me. And now I'm going to start to walk away from his leg to open up a space between his knee and his chest. And now I can come in, and I can occupy that space. Okay, so once again, I hit my long step. The bottom knee is in my way. I make a switch from the top leg to the bottom. And now I pin the leg in place, and I keep kind of shoving it away from me as I walk away from the leg. Now when Ant tries to bring his knee to his chest, he can't, and now I can come up and control the pocket of the hip. I'd bring my knee in tight, and I'd really clamp in on the hips there. So that's the bottom knee. What happens if the top knee gets in my way? Well, now that gets to be tough because both the bottom knee and the top knee can be in the way at the same time. And when my opponent does such a good job of defending the guard pass on one side, I think about passing to the other side. Quick lesson, and can you lay with your head toward the camera? When I go to pass Ant's guard, let's say I go to pass on this side, Ant typically will orient his body like so. Okay, he's got his elbows facing me, he's got his knees facing me, everything's up in this direction. But what if I could instantaneously teleport from here to here? Okay, now Ant is completely facing the wrong way. If I can get Ant defending one way and I can pass on the other side, and if you guys were to say 1, 2, 3, go, I'm going to win that position. I'm going to win that fight. How are we going to do it? We got a couple different ways. I can either go around the head, or I can go around the feet. So when I'm in here, I get my long step grips. I come up and elbows, knees, everything is super in tight. You can see it'd be really hard for me to try to come in and occupy the pocket of the hip here. So when I see this thing happen, but there's nothing over here. There's nothing defending that area. So staying on my elbow, right, because we never went down to our shoulder, I'm going to heist back up to my left knee. I'm going to go from my left hip to my left knee. Here. Now I take a big step over the head. I don't go here. This isn't going to be long enough. My foot has to go past the head. And now my left arm can come in, and I'm going to take my left arm right here between his elbow and his ribs. And that gives me an ability to either lock a Kimura, lock an arm triangle, or lock a seatbelt and start taking the back. So many good options. I use this methodology when I pass guard a lot. Understand that when you're passing guard, the bottom person is often framing. When they frame, they begin to extend their arms, whether they're using hand frames or whether they're using elbow frames. Either way, their elbows come away from their body and their arms get relatively extended. And anytime you have extension of limbs, you can go into submission holds and you can start isolating limbs away from the body. So this idea that when my opponent is strongly framing to defend the guard pass, I can always control the pocket of the arm and start to isolate the elbow away from the body in ways that will lead to submission. One more time on that one, Ant. It's a very important lesson. Put your head that way this time. So I'm going to point the feet down and away. Try to get to the pocket of the hip, and I can't. So I control the head with my left arm. I put good head position in, and my right arm controls the cup. I I come up, I free my right leg. Now I want to get to the pocket of the hip, but Ant is doing a really good job defending. So I heist back up to my left knee. I take a step over the head, and now my left arm is going to release the lapel, and it goes right here. I go from the lapel, and I hug his arm, taking my arm in from behind Ant. And now I'm just going to back step with my left leg as I put my body weight onto his tricep and elbow. And now I'm set up for a good Kimura grip, for an arm triangle submission, or to take the back. They're all tremendous options. So I mentioned that we can go around the head, and that's one of my favorites. Another good way we can operate is to go back around the feet. I'll lay down your head over there. When I go to hit my long step, I'm here. My long step, same thing, everything's in tight. I can also take his foot, punch it down to the floor. I can tripod up, and now I can walk around to this side of the body. Once I'm in here, I like to take my left knee and drive it between his two legs and take my knee down to the floor to the pocket of the hip. This is a position we call the flank position. Okay, this is often associated with leg drag passing. We're going to look at the leg drag pass in a couple weeks, but this is a good introduction to it, where we get the flank position, where I have a strong flank on Ant now. Ant is facing out that way, and I'm on his side. Now because I'm on his side, I can start working my way up to the head and shoulders, and pin him. One more time, going around the legs. Point the feet down and away. Get your long step grips. We hit our long step, and I find that I can't get in. So I pin this leg to the floor, I walk around, and I take the flank position. Now from the flank, I can start working my guard pass. There's a lot more information on the long step pass. I'm not going to go through every single iteration, but there is at least two more things I want to go through. At least two more. We'll do two more, and then we'll start going through breaking connections and connecting other passes. One is a scoop grip. What if Ant is playing seated butterfly guard? Okay. So we looked at getting control of the head with a lapel grip. Now I'm going to show a scapular grip, where I go past his head and I grip over the shoulder blade, putting my head into this shoulder here. Okay? My right arm, rather than a cuff grip, can also take a scoop grip, where I go inside. So I come in here, I fix up my grips just like so. Now with these grips, I'm going to drive into Ant, putting his weight onto his butt, getting his feet off the floor. And as I do that, I want to make sure my right leg stretches back to get rid of his left butterfly hook. Okay, right now he has a left butterfly hook, right? So as I push back with my head and into him, getting his feet off the floor, I stretch my right leg back here. Now I'm going to use my scoop grip to lift and my scapular grip to pull, and look at how I kind of rotate Ant on his butt as I fall down into my long step. And now from here, I'm going to come in, I'm going to wedge the pocket of the hip. Here I did so with my knee, and then we can take our pass. One more quick time on that option. Seated butterfly. We're working in here, I get to the inside position, I take a scapular grip here and good head position in the far shoulder. My right arm takes a scoop grip. Now my right leg kicks back to get off his butterfly hook as I put Ant's weight onto his tailbone. Now that all of his weight is on one point, it becomes very easy to turn him as I long step. And now I want to get into the pocket of the hip. This time I did so with my arm and elbow, and my knee finished. My knee followed my hand and elbow into the pocket of the hip. All right, one more different variation of the long step that I want to show you guys. This is what I call the high step. Rather than stepping low and long along the floor, we stand tall and we step high over his legs. I typically like to do this one in no-gi when I don't have access to a lapel grip. And I will also do this one if he is doing a really good job of framing and he does not give me good head position in the far shoulder. Knee shield. From this position, again, let's say I can't get to my head to the far shoulder. I want to come in with good head position, but I can't. Even worse, maybe he's not just using frames, but maybe he's got this reverse lapel grip. He's got this thing stuck across my neck, and I cannot get in at all. He's keeping me out. If I can't get a good head position, I go from working a long step to working the tall step. Okay? Frames. So I'm in here, it's not working. So because I can't get control of the head adequately, I'm going to go back to the pocket of the hip. Okay, we pointed the feet away. Ideally, I try to get to the pocket of the hip, he stopped me, so I try to go for the head. I try to go for the head and he stops me, so I'm going to go back to the hip. Let's rotate your head in, all the way to the other side. I'm going to take my left leg, I'm going to step it over his knee and into the pocket of the hip with my ankle. Okay, so I'm driving in, not working. I go right here and here. So I'm pinching his thigh between my two legs. And my left leg is encroaching upon the pocket of the hip. From here, my left knee goes down to the belly, and my left hand pins the bicep. So now if Ant goes to use his left hand in any way, it's shut out. It's very important that my right hand, let's rotate. So I get in here to the pocket of the hip. My hand goes to the bicep. My left knee goes to the pocket of the hip. It's important that my right hand controls the ankle and stops it from pummeling inside. If he gets his foot inside my leg, he can go into Ashigarami. Okay? So, as much as possible, I want to stop this foot from coming to the inside. Now he's going to try to keep my leg trapped. I'm just going to put all my weight onto my left knee and my left hand as I pick my right knee up to the ceiling and I high step out. So it's very similar to the long step, but it's a high step. Now from here, my left knee is controlling the pocket of the hips. If I just take my left knee out and I turn to face the head and shoulders, the knee comes back in. So what do I need to do before I take my left knee away? I have to replace it. I'm going to replace it with either my right elbow or, even better, my right knee. He's keeping his knees tight to his chest. My left knee puts a limit on how far his knees can come up. Now my right knee comes right in here, right alongside my left knee, and my right knee replaces my left knee, so I can turn toward the head and shoulders and control the position. So that's our high step. Again, I generally use the high step when I don't have a lapel to control the head adequately, or if he's framing and stopping me from getting my head to the top shoulder. So again, I'm here, I come in, I get my grip, I want to get good head position and frames, and I can't come in. So now my left leg steps to the pocket of the hip. My weight goes onto my left knee, and it goes onto my left hand in the bicep. Now I want to make sure Ant's ankle does not come to the inside position. So as he tries to pummel his foot back to the inside, I monitor it. Now all my weight goes to my left side, and I pick my right leg up, and I step it out. If you need more mobility with your right leg, you can even drop your left hip. Watch your hand. You can even drop your left hip to the chest. And now I can take my right leg up nice and high, and I'm just sitting right on his chest as I take this leg out, and I put it right here. Now my right knee comes inside my left knee, and I control the pocket to the hip, and then I get up to the head and shoulders. All right. So that's most of the ins and outs of our different long step pass variations. To finish this video up, I'll show you a couple iterations of maybe breaking connections and flowing right into the pass, and then of connecting one pass, such as the knee cut, into some of our other favorite passes. This pass, such as our long step, and some of our other favorite passes, such as the knee cut. For example, if Ant has, let's say, collar cuff bicep, and the collar, right here, okay? This is not a good spot for me. This is very good for Ant. He can pull me down into submission holds. I'm gonna fight the strength of his legs with my legs, pummeling to the inside. I'm gonna take a grip on the lapel, and I'm gonna use my elbow and my knee together to bump his foot to the outside. This lapel, I'm gonna creep up toward the head. This is my head control. My left hand takes a grip right here on the pants. Now here, my knee cuts over his knee, driving my knee to the floor, and I take a long step out, and we're right back into our long step. One more time, collar cuff bicep. Here, first I need to keep my elbow retracted. If he pulls my elbow forward, there's some submissions here, triangles, omoplatas, arm bars, whatever. So my elbow stays back to my right knee. Now I want to pummel my hand to the inside. If Ant's really lazy with his foot position, I can. But no one's going to let you just pummel in. I try to pummel, he stops. So I need to fight the strength of his legs with my legs. My left knee goes inside his knee, and I pummel. Controlling the lapel here, controlling the head through the lapel. My knee and my elbow together force Ant's foot to the outside position. My left hand takes a grip on the pants, and now my knee is going to drive to the floor, going over Ant's knee here, and I take a long step. And now I can come up and I can finish my long step guard pass. Okay, we can do this De La Riva. De La Riva guard. I point the feet down and away. I step to the inside. He latches on De La Riva, maybe a cross collar. With my cross collar grip, or his cross collar grip, I pop it off. I pop his De La Riva hook off. Now from here, I'm pushing the knee down. I come and I control the lapel, keeping my knee and my elbow together here. My left hand controls the cuff of the pants, and now same thing. My knee drives down to the floor as I long step through. And we have our long step pass connected to a De La Riva guard. All right. Finally, let's start talking about maybe connecting our long step pass to some of our other passes. Okay. For instance, turning the long step into a knee cut.